Many real estate investors visit our platform hoping to find wealthy individuals who will lend them money for their investment property deals. However, this is not a realistic approach for several reasons. First, these individuals don't typically advertise online. Secondly, conducting business with an individual instead of a professional lending firm can lead to various challenges. In this video, I'll explain the drawbacks of borrowing from individual investors, and I'll make a case for why I believe it's always safer to get funding from private lending companies, which are also known as hard money lenders or bridge lenders. I've heard a variety of reasons why real estate investors prefer to seek individual private lenders. They offer 100% financing. They don't charge points. They don't care about my credit score or personal finances. They don't require appraisals. They offer gap funding or junior liens. Some of these things may be true, but every individual investor is different. Some have little to no experience with private mortgage lending, and I'm guessing most have never experienced a default and a foreclosure. Perhaps they just assume they can easily take over the property if you don't perform, but it's not that simple. It seems like most real estate investors only find wealthy individual investors in their local area, and the relationship started by a referral or recommendation or a networking event. Borrowing from individuals outside of your local area is more likely when it's a referral from an individual investor that you're already doing business with. It's all done by local networking. Wealthy individuals don't advertise, so you're wasting your time searching online thinking you'll find an individual to lend you tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars. If you find an advertisement online offering private money loans at a low rate, it's most likely a scam in which you respond, pay an application or underwriting fee, and the private money lender disappears. If you can find an individual investor to finance your project, that's great, but here are several drawbacks worth considering. First, individuals generally have limited funds. At some point, they will run out of capital, and then you'll have to find other private individual investors. The second thing you may run into is unreliability. You may be trying to close a deal and can't get the funds because your individual investor is on vacation. Also, their lack of experience with private lending can lead to legal action if anything goes wrong. And the pricing may not be lower than what you'd pay to a professional private lending company. And lastly, individual investors don't have a public reputation to maintain, so there's a higher risk of unethical behavior such as price gouging, or bait and switch, or loan to own. While there may be some benefits to borrowing from an individual private lender, there are lots of advantages to borrowing from professional lenders, which are small to mid-sized companies. Many real estate investors and brokers refer to them as hard money lenders, but hard money is no longer a popular term with the lending industry. While some companies embrace the term, most hard money lenders call themselves private lenders. To be more clear, I prefer to use the term private lending companies. One major advantage of working with companies is that they have a public reputation to uphold, which tends to discourage unethical practices. And unlike individual investors, private lending companies almost never run out of capital. Since they're in the business of lending, they're constantly recycling funds. Some lenders sell their loans to institutions. Some manage a mortgage fund which pools money from multiple passive investors. Ironically, some use individual investors to fund their loans, but in most cases, the individual investors would not work directly with borrowers. Since private lending companies have a staff and a lending operation, their customer service is typically better than individual lenders. Someone is always available to respond to calls and emails. And lastly, private lending companies can be a great resource. If you plan to refinance into a long-term loan, private lending companies can refer you to a lender or arrange the refinance loan for you. For rehab and construction projects, private lending companies can refer you to contractors if needed and provide advice. Many lending firms are owned by former real estate investors who have lots of experience. The reputation of private lending companies is a significant reason why I recommend them over individual investors. Many private lending companies belong to a private lending trade association that mandates its members to follow a code of ethics. Our industry has 4 associations: the American Association of Private Lenders, the National Private Lenders Association, the California Mortgage Association, and the Arizona Private Lender Association. In California, Arizona, and Nevada, individual investors cannot make loans directly to borrowers without a license. There are a few exceptions, but generally in these states, your loan has to be arranged or funded by a licensed lender. If you're seeking private lending companies for an investment real estate deal, use our website privatelenderlink.com as a resource. All the companies listed on the site have a very detailed profile that shows their lending guidelines and trade association memberships. Review each lender's profile to learn about the requirements and contact them directly. If you'd like us to review your deal and make recommendations, click the Create a Loan Request button. Provide some information about your deal for us to review, and we'll invite a few select lenders to look at it.